Hi, I'm Dean McKnight, and welcome to another edition of Taking Back Our Neighborhoods, presented by Operation Our Town. I'm sure by now most of you are familiar with Operation Our Town, and I hope that most of you have also participated in its programs. It's a combination of businesses and community leaders who have gotten together to fight drug abuse and crime through proven techniques. And today we're going to talk about some very special techniques that deal with some very special people. We have three people with us today who actually deal with children and young people and their after-school activities in order to combat crime and the problems that these young people are facing, which I just can't imagine today, Sherri. They must be, in some cases, insurmountable. My first guest is Sherri Lynch. Sherri's from the Garver Memorial YMCA in Roaring Spring. Sherri, welcome.
Thank you.
Who participates in your program, and what kind of activities and things do you do at Garver?
Well, at Garver, what we have is children from the Spring Cove School District, and they're ages 5 all the way up to age 13. And we get them off the bus. They get transported from the school right to our facility. And then they come in, and of course, you know, all after-school kids have to have a snack. So our parents are real great about it. They'll bring in a snack, and we have a drink, and then we'll get down to our homework.
And the children, how are the children chosen for this program?
The parents. The parents actually volunteer. Call us and ask us what programs we have available for kids for after school. Now, I've only been with the program since January. Okay. In January, we started out with anywhere between 5 and 9 kids. Our enrollment yesterday was 19.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
Wonderful.
I'm excited.
You should be excited. I'm excited. You know, anytime we can offer young people some alternatives, it certainly is a blessing in disguise.
Exactly.
Tell me about Operation Our Town. How does that help your program?
Well, that is probably the biggest reason that our enrollment has gone up. The parents in Roaring Springs don't know where to go because there's not a lot of extra help for the kids outside of the school. From what I understand, the school does extra help after school. But what we do is, this is something completely different from the school, and it does cost, but with Operation Our Town, we can have the children come for free using scholarships that we have gotten from you.
Wow, that's wonderful. And how long does this program last? Till 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock?
We're till 5:30.
Till 5:30.
The middle school gets off the bus around, I'm going to say 10:03, and then the elementary kids get off the bus about 3:40, and they're there till 5:30. Now,
are these children that I would hear traditionally called latchkey children that would have no other place to go after school?
Yes, I'd say 95% of them are latchkey kids.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. So now they get a chance to socialize, learn, and do some things.
Exactly.
How did you get involved in this?
I got involved with this, I'm going to say it goes all the way back to teenage years. I always babysat, and I love kids. I mean, just talking about kids gives me goosebumps. I just love helping kids. And I went to school after my own children were born. I went back to school and got my degree. I thought I wanted to be a teacher. That's what I wanted to be. I tried the teaching scene, and it just wasn't for me. And then I had a pastor of mine ask me if I would like to do an after-school program. And that was about 8 years ago. And I lived in Lebanon County, and I did an after-school program, and that just is where my heart is.
Wow.
I love it.
And that program was very successful?
Very successful. We started out, when I started, with 6 kids and just a homework club. When I left after 6.5 years, we had a homework club, a rec center, a Friday night football. After the Friday night football games, the kids would come to our center and hang out for a little bit, and our enrollment was up to 400 at that time.
Sherri, I must confess, I was born and raised in Blair County, and my image of the Cove area has always been this pristine community where there is no crime. It's like Ozzie and Harriet, everybody knows their neighbor. But you're telling us that the value of this program to bring these young people together and prevent crime and drugs is a very important part of the community outreach.
Oh, I think so. I definitely think so. I mean, if you look at the paper, the Cove isn't immune to what every other community in this country is. So this gives these kids just an extra chance, just to give them that extra push that, maybe if they're coming to us, they're not out hanging on the streets or getting in with a crowd that just isn't, what I would want my child to be. I treat these children like I would treat my own children.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Like I said, I sometimes see children kind of wandering around the mall or something,
Yes.
and I think, I wonder if there's options for them. And apparently, this is part of that option, is that they can go and participate in a regular program.
Yes. Now, our biggest thing is getting the word out. We don't have, a lot of people don't know that we are there and offer this program. We try to get the word out now. I am hoping to get some information into the school districts this year so they know that, oh, wow, hey, we have a program here that we can take advantage of.
Well, if I read McMahon, I'd say, here's Sherri, and it's your chance to give a little advertisement for your program. How can people get involved? What can they do to help you?
The first thing they can do if they want their child involved is to come and just call the YMCA, the Garver Memorial YMCA, and they have all the information. I have contacted the principals of the Spring Cove School District, and they have the information that they can give you. Or you can just stop in. Anytime I'm there, I get there at 2:30 and I'm there till 5:30. Come in, just donate your time.
And what's the address of the Garver? It's in
say,
Roaring Spring?
Yes, I think it's 820 Spruce Street. I'm not sure.
Well,
sorry.
Folks, it's on Spruce Creek, and you already heard Spruce Avenue or Street?
It might even be Spring Street. I'm sorry, I don't know since I'm new.
You heard Sherri send out the request. If you're in the Roaring Spring area, you can help. You can do things to make these children's lives better, and you can help Sherri to make these programs happen. Tell me, what do you need specifically?
Well, we can always use school supplies like pencils and crayons and paper. And if anyone would like to donate some computers, we really need some computers for the school-age kids. We now share the computers with the preschoolers, which is wonderful, but there's a lot of preschool games, and I would like to get more age-appropriate games for the kids and have their own space.
That's wonderful. What about your rewards? There must be some personal rewards for you in this.
My best thing is whenever I see a child progress from really struggling, coming to full circle, that's my reward. I mean, I'll be honest with you, a long time ago I had a child who he was in kindergarten and he lived by a firehouse. Could not tell me the color red when he came to us.
Oh my.
He was could not tell me the color red. Within 2 weeks, we taught him his colors. And he came one day, I didn't think, we were teaching him, but I wasn't sure if the parents were working with him. And I just happened to show him a fire truck, and he goes, red. And that actually brought tears to my eyes because he really had a tough home life.
Wow, that's wonderful. A couple programs ago, we had a young man who actually had beaten drug addiction and was now working to help other drug-addicted people. And what we're doing here is we're cutting out we're getting to these young people before they have a chance to become addicted and do these things. Right,
exactly. Now we are also starting another program over the summer. We're starting a tutoring program. We will have their half-hour tutoring sessions, and we're going to work with the school district and the parent and the child to develop an educational plan for the children to come and be tutored in any subject they want. And we feel that if they're tutored and more prepared for the next year, that also helps them be geared more towards school and academics and not be out in the street.
Did you start the program in Roaring Spring?
No, I did not. Our executive director, Rod, his daughter actually started it a few years ago.
Okay.
And at first it didn't take off too much. But it's getting, as the time went on, it took a little time, but the members actually started to come. But now we're starting to get other people other than members.
Now, is this a church-related activity or is this an independent activity?
It's an independent activity.
Okay, so you really are more dependent on public support than...
Yes.
I mean, if they don't support you, you're out of business.
Exactly. Any funds are always more than welcome.
Oh my. Are there any other personal stories you can share with us of young people that have been involved in this program?
Well, like I said, I'm not originally from this area, and we did start, like I said, I started in 1999, 2000, something like that. I started with some kids that were in third grade, and they still keep in contact with me today. One of my first students that I ever tutored has Tourette's syndrome, and he had a tough time in school. He didn't fit in, his grades were suffering, so he came to my house, this is when I first started, for 3 days a week, and I helped him after school, and no one thought he would graduate. And he has graduated, he has gotten his license, and he is holding a full-time job. And he is now 20, I think.
Wow.
So that makes it all worth it.
So you came to our area, didn't know anything about except you had experience in these programs and understood how they worked.
Yes.
And the success of them. Got involved in Roaring Spring, and now that program is growing. Do the parents get involved also?
Yes. The parents are actually, we take the kids down to the gym because we think it's important for the kids to get physical activity as well as academic activity. And they're always looking for ideas. What can we do in the gym with the kids? They bring all the snacks, they bring all the drinks, and Fridays are our fun days because most kids don't have school on Fridays, so we just do. And in the winter, we've been watching a lot of movies and just playing games and stuff. And now we're going to be getting outside. So when we go outside, I'm going to ask the parents to help me a little bit because having 20 kids to myself, is a little too much for outside.
Sherri, it sounds like you're not just a babysitter, you're an educator.
Oh, exactly. I have my degree in elementary education.
You're teaching these young people about nutrition.
Yes.
You're helping them to learn about exercise. According to the statistics I hear, 1/3 of our young people are obese.
Exactly.
Legally obese. And that's kind of scary, isn't it?
It is, because of heart disease. And I myself have had some health problems in the past. And eating well and exercising, I know everybody says it's repeated, but it's definitely something that's helped me get through what I had to get through.
That's wonderful. I know I've battled the weight problem most of my life.
Everybody has.
Well, yeah.
Most everybody.
I love food. It's not like it's an enemy. It's my buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wish I would have had that education when I was younger. I wish somebody would have said to me, these are the right things that you can eat and not this.
Right.
And how do the children respond, especially the physical activity?
Oh, they love it. We had a parent just last week, we were downstairs in the gym, and the boys were playing basketball, the girls were doing all their stuff. And we had a parent come in, apparently from the way she played basketball, I think she was a basketball star at one time at her high school, and she played with them, I bet you, a good half hour. And they were thrilled. They were all sweating and just burning energy.
That's wonderful.
I know.
That's wonderful.
Now, we have the PSSAs coming up at the school districts in the next few weeks. So I already told the kids they won't have homework. We're going to be either outside or downstairs because they're sitting taking tests all day. They need to burn that excess energy off.
Now, the PSSA is...
It's a state, I don't know if it's statewide, it's a test that all the kids take to see how they're doing compared to other kids in the nation.
So this is the mental challenge part of their growing up process.
Yes.
And you're dealing with the physical challenges of learning how to exercise and
Right.
learning how to play games.
Yes. Now, we do have a lot of educational games, the card games, like, I don't want to say educational, but it teaches sharing, like Go Fish and how to take your turn and, all that type of things.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. It'd be nice if parents would just come down and observe this and see what's going on.
They're more than welcome anytime.
That's terrific. Is there a phone number that they can reach you? Do they need to call for an appointment or anything?
I think it's 224-5101.
224-5101. And ask for Sherri personally because she knows all about the program.
And if I'm not there, leave a message and I will definitely get back to you.
Tell me about your health problems, Sherri. Did that influence any of this for you?
Yes. I think I've always been with kids because I was born with a kidney illness. And they told my parents that I wouldn't live past my first birthday. So what happened was I did. I defeated all the odds. And I went down to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. And as I grew older, I was fine. The doctor down there said, any child that's sick, you always treat them like a normal child. And I think I've gone through life thinking I'm normal, even though I had problems. And sometimes that got me in trouble. I will be honest with you, because sometimes I didn't always listen to what my parents had to say. But I've always, there's kids out there. Kids are beautiful. Kids are wonderful. They're like the highlight of my life. I raised 2 of my own, and I just didn't want to stop raising kids, I guess. My husband says I'd bring some people bring cats and dogs home. I bring kids home.
Hey, that's wonderful.
I know, so.
And what's your biggest challenge out there, Sherri?
The biggest challenge is trying to get the parents and the children both to understand that education is so important. I don't care if you're 10, I don't care if you're 2, I don't care if you're 50, 60, 70, it's never too early to start learning. You need to keep your brain active. And I will tell you, I learned that from my mother. My mom, that's a big thing.
The parents.
The parents, yep.
Oh boy, what a role they play in our lives.
Yes.
And isn't it amazing how as we get older, our parents became smarter and smarter.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your greatest need out there, Sherri?
Right now, I think what we would really like, we need to find space. The YMCA is it's a great place, but like I said, we share with the preschool rooms, and when you have 20 kids in a preschool room, it gets a little tough. So.
And what's the capacity?
I think our capacity is 32.
In the room.
So
you're pretty quickly running out of capacity here.
Yes. I know. So hopefully, we can find other alternatives at the Y so we can have our own space. But we want to take one step at a time and let it grow so we know.
Sherri, I think I speak for the entire community when I say thank you. Thank you for what you bring to us, and we're glad you're part of our community.
I love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Sherri Lynch from the Garver Memorial YMCA in Roaring Spring. We're going to have a couple other guests right now that have equally amazing stories, so please stay tuned.
Some banks say they're part of the community. Mainline National Bank helps build it. Volunteering, financing homes and business, being there for our neighbors when they need us. Since 1944, it's what we do. Operation Our Town has helped to reduce drugs and crime in our community. Mainline National Bank encourages you to take back our neighborhoods. Go to wearecentralpa.com and click Operation Our Town to learn more.
My next guest is Ron Ross from the Nehemiah Project. Welcome, Ron.
Glad to be here.
I don't know why they keep booking good-looking guys just to make me look bad, but we got to do something about that. Tell me about the Nehemiah Project. What is that?
The Nehemiah Project is a 501c3 nonprofit, faith-based. It was established by Pleasant Valley Assembly of God. The purpose that it was established for was to do community redevelopment, to go into blighted and disadvantaged areas of town, and to try to make a difference in the lives, to offer services and programs that would enhance the neighborhoods and to try to restore the neighborhoods back to what they once were.
So this is about the community restoration and also young people? You do young people also?
Yes, our after-school program is just one small facet of what we do. The Nehemiah Project, some people in town might be familiar with what we were calling the 11th Street Project. We took an abandoned church on the corner of 11th Street and 16th Avenue, and it was about to be demolished at considerable expense to the city. So we took that building, bought it basically for $1, and we joke all the time it was worth every penny of that. We've put a little over $1 million into the building. So it houses right now 2 churches, an offshoot of Pleasant Valley and an Hispanic church. We house the Father's House Food and Clothing Pantry. We have a support group for people with addictions. We operate a transition house for women coming out of prison. We're working on remodeling a house to prepare for a men's transition home. just a variety of, we allow the building to be used by the community. So for example, there's a steppers drum group that we let use the building. The Blair County Literacy uses the building. So the building is open to people in the community for whatever needs that might arise.
I don't want to gloss over this 501c3 designation. That's critically important to an organization like yours, is it not, Ron?
Yes, the thinking was the fact that as a church, we wanted to do a lot more than what we could do just as a church. One, our church body didn't have the financial means to do as much as we felt we were called to do. A lot of people won't give to a particular church because it's not their denomination, their church, and that's pretty normal, but we wanted to do a lot more. The 501c3 allows us to get donations and help and get government grants and a number of things that allowed us to expand the ministries, the services, and the programs. We were able to build a playground. There was no playground in that area, so we built a large playground in that area. We were instrumental in getting some of the sidewalks replaced, the church facility, of course, itself. We're in the process of buying properties. We're hoping to do a housing project to reintroduce some needed housing in that area. We've been instrumental in getting a number of dilapidated houses torn down and to make the neighborhood be a place where people would want to live and a place that would be safe once again.
That's exciting, Ron. You guys are really busy.
Yeah, we have a lot of things going on.
And to someone like myself, the 501c3 designation means that I can deduct it from my taxes as a charitable contribution.
Definitely.
So even if you're not a member of the church, I encourage you to think about this project and participate. And it's a tax deduction. So this is something we can all participate in. That doesn't mean you shouldn't keep your contributions to our town coming in, but there are some choices out there. Who participates in your program and what activities do they do?
Well, our after-school program called The Wall is for children in Wright Elementary, kindergarten through 6th grade. We would like to do something for teens, but right now we haven't had the finances or the help to be able to expand the program to the teenagers. The kids come from Wright. They're basically choose to come on their own. We sent out flyers to all the kids and invited pretty much everybody in the school. We've had 46 kids enrolled at the moment. We've had more. That area that we're in is a very transient area, so people are moving in and out all the time. We've probably had 7 or 8 other kids that have been in the program and they've moved, that type of thing. The program, the kids come right after school. We give them a healthy snack. They then do about a half-hour time of homework help. One of the features of our program is we try to bring a special guest in every day beyond just what we're doing. We brought in everything from, for example, Shavers Creek Environmental Center brought their Birds of Prey show in. We've had the police department, the fire department. We have a guy comes in every other Thursday and does science experiments with the kids, kind of like Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Wow.
And the kids just love him. He makes science almost magic, and that goes over real well with the kids. They love that. The Girl Scouts come in every Tuesday and take the girls and do some Girl Scout type stuff with them. So just a whole variety of special programs that we try to incorporate each day. Then there's always some free time. We have computers for the kids to work on. We have all types of books and games, and if the kids need individual tutoring or help, then we'll stop and do that with them also.
Sounds exciting. I'm sorry, it's just for young people. I think my wife and I should be participating in this program.
Yeah, we try to make it fun. If kids need to learn, but if it's not fun, they're not going to want to have any part of it. And when they realize that learning can be fun, not only beneficial, but they can enjoy it at the same time, they're more likely to want to do it.
That's terrific. And this kind of differentiates you from some other programs?
I think so. I mean, I'm sure most all programs from time to time will bring a guest in. I haven't heard of too many that try to do that on a regular, everyday basis.
And Operation Our Town, what's your involvement with Operation Our Town?
Well, they've been extremely instrumental to everything we've done. Back when we built the playground, they had significantly contributed to that. As far as the after-school program itself, we've received 2 grants. The first one was a fairly large grant, and we were able to buy 15 MacBook computers and printers and the peripherals that go with that. Then this last grant we just received will allow us to expand. We're a free program, we don't charge, and none of our people get paid, but the program really could use a full-time paid person. I'm doing that at the moment, but that really wasn't my job. I had some expertise in that area as a degree in math from Penn State, and I taught school for a while, so I kind of stepped into this role, but it really wasn't the role that I was hired to do. And so the majority of the kids, no, I'm sorry, I kind of lost track of what you were.
No, we're talking about the young people and their participation, and it leads me to the next question: is how did you get involved in this?
Well, I've always been active in my church. Growing up, I did everything from teach Sunday school to Sunday school superintendent to a variety of things in the church, and so I've always had a desire to teach. And I was doing some other things. It would be a long story to tell the whole story, but we had a family business that, due to some health issues, we shut down. And I was doing another job that I really wasn't happy with at the time. And the pastor of our church actually approached me, and the Nehemiah project was just being done by our pastoral staff in addition to their pastoral duties, and it was getting way too big to get a lot of things accomplished. So they asked me then, could I take and do the kind of the administrative part? So they hired me as the program manager for the Nehemiah project as a whole. So my job, therefore, was just to get things done, whatever the vision that the pastoral staff and the board of directors of the Nehemiah project decided to do. I was to take it and run with it and do it. So when the after-school program came into play and we didn't have the funds to hire somebody else, somebody had to step up or it wasn't going to happen. And I always had a desire to teach, and I love kids, so I just stepped into that role.
Your passion is contagious, Ron. It really is, and it's obvious from just the look on your face that this is something you love to do. This isn't a job. This is something you love to do.
Yeah, we really believe what we're doing is a calling. I believe where I'm at right now is what God created me to do. It's my purpose in life. And when you find that place in life that you're doing what you believe you were designed to do, there's just no better feeling in the world, and you can put your whole heart and soul into doing it when you know without a doubt you're doing what you should be doing in life.
And so you're basically one-on-one with these young people. Do they ask you questions about drugs? Or are they under the influence, at that age, are they under the influence of the drug culture?
Yes, I mean, we don't really know totally what all they're exposed to. We know one child for sure whose father is a dealer. I think it's only a matter of time till that changes, but right now we know that for a fact. We had a young girl the other day started to cry while we were eating a snack, and we took her over aside. I actually went over in the steps and sat down with her. I said, "What's the matter?" And she says, "I really miss my dad." And I said, "Well, where is your dad?" And she said, "Well, he died of a drug overdose 2 years ago." So that's the type of thing these kids are dealing with. And this area of town obviously is a very dysfunctional section of Altoona, and traditionally has had a lot of drug dealing and crime dysfunction in this neighborhood. So a number of the kids that we are dealing with come from broken homes. They have, there's the very, very high percent of parents that are incarcerated even as we speak of the kids that we're dealing with.
Oh my, Ron, tears your heart out. You
Yes,
just want to be able to reach out and change things, and I'm sure that's frustrating sometimes. What's your greatest need over there?
Right now we could use more help.
Okay.
With 46 kids, we divide them up into three grade categories, actually. And it takes quite a few workers. A lot of people can volunteer, but they can't volunteer on a daily basis. They can give us a day. So that divides up really how much help you have. And so there's a number of days where I'll have, like, I usually do the 3rd, 4th grade class, and I'll run anywhere from 10 to 18 kids, depending who comes on a particular day. And there's been many a day I've had that whole group to myself. And it's not that you can't do that, but when a child asks you to help them with their homework, you've got 10, 12, 15 other kids sitting there also wanting help, and you're one person. You can't give them all the help you desire to give them.
Ron, to our audience, how would they get in touch with you if they wanted to volunteer? How do they get in touch with this program?
Well, they can call the Nehemiah Project offices. The number there is 381-7019. They can
repeat that number again.
381.
Write this down, folks.
381-7019.
Okay.
They can certainly ask for me. If I'm not there, they can let a message. We have a reception. Being the building is housing a lot of different groups and programs, we have a full-time receptionist and some other people that answer the phone. So you could certainly ask them. I would invite you to come by. Normally, if somebody says they'd like to volunteer, the first thing I do is ask them to come by and observe, see what we're doing, how we're doing it. When you're dealing with 40 to 50 kids from dysfunctional families, behavioral issues can be a big issue. And if you're not ready for that, it can be a little culture shock, especially if you come from the side of the town where everybody's just neat and behaves and listens and what have you. That's not typically the kids we're dealing with. Some of them are. We have some kids that are extremely polite, and then there's some other kids that's why we're working with them. We're hoping to teach them how to grow up and to succeed in life. And
you're a special man, Ron. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe you are fulfilling your mission in life. You know, we talk about our business leaders and our government leaders and our volunteers and the programs, and sometimes we forget the role that the churches play in their outreach programs in the drug culture and combating this before the young people get involved. And that's so important.
Right.
If you could change one thing, Ron, what would it be?
I'm not sure if you're asking if I could change one thing with the program or with the kids.
Anything. You see the world from a different set of eyes. What would you change?
I would change the family roles that people have and make people understand once again. I believe our country has got away from the traditional family, mother, father type of thing, and not to demean a single parent family, but kids need both parents, and they need both parents to be engaged. And when they have both parents engaged and being proper role models, the kids have a much higher chance to succeed. And what I'm seeing is that there is so much dysfunction, so many divorces, so many single parent dysfunctional families, that these kids don't get a good role model. Either one or the other parent is missing, and it lets a real void in these children's lives, and it puts them at a disadvantage.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Ron Ross from the Nehemiah Project, a very dedicated and a wonderful. It's my pleasure to know you, Ron. I'm thankful that you're on this show, and I've had a chance to meet you. We'll be back in just a moment.
Some banks say they're part of the community. Mainline National Bank helps build it, volunteering, financing homes and business, being there for our neighbors when they need us. Since 1944, it's what we do. Since 2007, Operation Our Town has helped to reduce drugs and crime in our neighborhoods. Operation Our Town was founded to combat a deteriorating community riddled with drugs and resulting crime. It was believed that if the citizenry worked together to improve our community, we could literally take back our neighborhoods. Our mission: to facilitate partnerships between the community and business to fight drug use and crime through proven law enforcement, treatment, and prevention techniques. Efforts are designed to help strengthen existing organizations within our community so that they may serve and accomplish more. From 2007 through 2010, Operation Our Town raised over $2 million from area businesses, organizations, individuals, and federal grants. Over $1.5 million were distributed to local law enforcement treatment and prevention programs. Since 2007, drug arrests increased by 30%. Calls to push out the pusher increased 47%. Drug overdoses have declined by 41%. Everyone in the community is affected by drugs and crime, but maybe no other group is affected more than our children. We must keep our neighborhoods safe and lead by example to show them there are alternatives. Mainline National Bank believes we have a community worth preserving for our children's future. Mainline National Bank encourages you to take back our neighborhoods. Go to wearecentralpa.com and click Operation Our Town to learn more.
I'm here with Lauren McConnell, who's a Penn State University person who's working with a project called YELL. That fascinates me, Lauren. What is it? What is a YELL?
Well, YELL is a program aimed at young adolescents, basically 11 to 15, but we can take kids younger and older if they're interested. And it stands for Youth Empowerment, Living and Learning, and it was designed a couple years ago by some students I had working over there, and that was the name they coordinated with some kids who were actually participating in the program.
Lauren, that's fascinating. Living?
Youth Empowerment, Living and Learning.
Youth Empowerment, Living and Learning. That's wonderful. And it sounds like your age group is a little bit higher than our other two guests who kind of cut off at the 6th grade level, but you go up to 15. And what kind of activities and programs do these young people do?
Well, we designed the program specifically to target that age group because there is often not very much out there for kids who are, unless they're involved in sports or very specific things in the school. We wanted some opportunities for them that were age appropriate and gave them a lot of control. That was really the impetus. So we looked at some of the literature to look at a philosophy about how to do this, and a lot of the literature talks about giving them control, giving them opportunities to run and lead. I mean, they're at that age, you know, where they're ready to make decisions in their own life and the things that they're doing. So that's what we were hoping to do is not run the program, but facilitate a project, I guess. So they come after school. It's mostly junior high kids from the Altoona Junior High who come, and they're oftentimes waiting for their parents to pick them up. They can't get them right after school, so they'll be there for an hour and a half or so after school. And we collaborated with the library because they wanted to be able to offer something to these kids who were maybe just doing homework, but they weren't organized, they weren't doing things together. So we came in and started giving them opportunities to do things with like technology or digital cameras and art. We had an art program over the summer for them that was very successful. And it's basically just giving them opportunities to think about things they want to do and then allowing them, making it possible for them to do those things. Sounds like this is a collaboration between Penn State and the Altoona Library? Yeah, it's a collaboration between the Department of Human Development and Family Studies and the Altoona Area Public Library. Okay. And then I am typically sending interns. So right now I have a student intern who's, for her senior project, is coordinating this, and she has developed a intergenerational program where she takes these young people over to the low-income housing offered through IDA for older adults, and they are doing an intergenerational program with all kinds of different activities that they do together. Is it wrong for me to assume that this activity takes place at the public library? No, the students are at the young people are at the library, but then they go over to the IDA Towers, I believe, to do some of their intergenerational work one day a week, I believe. Okay, that sounds wonderful. Yes, it's very nice. It's very nice. You know, Penn State, I don't hear very often about Penn State reaching out to these young people, and that's pretty impressive that they've seen this as a need, because that age, it's up to 15, isn't that about when they
become directly influenced by this drug culture or the potential to get involved?
Yeah, it's a really tough age. It's a tough age to work with because it's hard to keep them engaged. It's, you know, they don't always just do what you want them to do. So you really need to harness that interest in directing their own lives and give them opportunities to make good choices. And that's basically what we're trying to do. Not tell them what to do, guide them in the right direction. And have the student I have working there now is wonderful, and she's really good with them. And a lot of times that's the issue. You got to have the right personality kind of conducting these things for them. So she's done a really good job of gaining their trust, being there when they need them, staying out of their way when they don't, and helping them make some decisions about what they want to do, and giving them good information when they need it.
Lauren, as I'm talking to people on this show, I'm learning an awful lot. And I'm learning that this umbrella of Operation Our Town, I knew it included businesses, and I knew it included, but now I see that it's also including educational facilities, the Penn States, the churches, whatever. This is a pretty impressive organization. How have they influenced your program?
Well, they've basically made it possible to keep it going. I mean, the library has limited, as probably everybody knows, limited resources to put somebody in place, and so we're able to host an intern there, and then Operation Our Town provides money for supplies, transportation being probably the biggest thing that we run into as an obstacle for, because they are teenagers, they're ready to go places and do things. So Operation Our Town money provides that kind of funding that's very, you know, that's probably the hardest thing to get for anything.
Is there anything the community can do as a whole to assist in your program?
Opportunities for them to hear from them if there's something they want to come and talk to the kids about. They're always open to programming ideas, you know, that are age appropriate, things that they need to hear about that they can't always get at school, or parents might be uncomfortable or just not realize that they need to have those conversations about drugs or other things that are coming up. If they have something they want to offer that way, and then obviously funding is always helpful through either Operation Our Town
Sure.
or directly, you know.
Sure, and important. I'm always, this library, this Altoona Public Library we have seems to me such an undervalued resource. I hear young people talking about, oh, I spent 3 hours on the computer, I did this. Every time I go to the library, I pick up some book. I will admit I look at pictures a lot, but it opens such a world that I didn't expect. When I'm on the internet, I just type in something I want to know, but when I go to the library, I discover something new. And now to know that young people are participating in this, and somebody has been, who put this program together? Whose idea was this?
Well, I worked with Jen Nisley, who is the Children's Services Coordinator at the library, and we just talked about how important it would be to find something for these kids that met their developmental needs. You know, so they're ready to not be in a program. They're ready to be programming. They want to be helping, and so they are working with older adults. They're going to put together a street fair for the Wright community, Wright Elementary community, later in the spring. They're going to work with some interns that are at the Wall program, and so this is the kind of thing they're ready to do, kind of come up with ideas and implement them and take on those leadership roles.
You have to spend some time with Ron, because it sounds like he's working in the same area, and it's so wonderful to see the communications that takes place between the groups. Tell me about your personal involvement. How did you get involved in the program?
Well, like you said, the library has been a wonderful resource for us. I coordinate the internship program for the Human Development Program department at Penn State Altoona, and so I was putting interns at the library to do literacy programs, and then we started looking at this particular age group, and my interest area is adolescents, so I do research and programming and teach in that area mostly. So I had an interest in trying to fill that void where adolescents are often left out of the programming mix, and not just here, but everywhere. I mean, that's just sort of universally. Even I've traveled to Sweden, and they have the same problems. Teenagers are a difficult bunch to try and figure out how to work with them. So they need our assistance, but it's a different challenge from working with younger kids. So
tell me, what is the mix of male, female? Is it like 50-50, 25?
No, there's almost always more girls. But I couldn't tell you exactly. It's probably 75% girls.
So we need to do something to get some more young men involved.
Yes.
Because this is an important project.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Lauren McConnell from Penn State, who represents a group called YELL. And so if you have a few spare moments or a few spare dollars, I think we need to call these people and volunteer and do what we need to do to keep these programs going. Lauren, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Some banks say they're part of the community. Mainline National Bank helps build it. Volunteering, financing homes and business, being there for our neighbors when they need us. Since 1944, it's what we do. Operation Our Town has helped to reduce drugs and crime in our community. Mainline National Bank encourages you to take back our neighborhoods. Go to wearecentralpa.com and click Operation Our Town to learn more.
I'm now joined by all of our guests, Ron Ross from the Nehemiah Project, Lauren McConnell from Penn State University, and Sherri Lynch from the Garver Memorial YMCA, which is now located on
Grove Street in Roaring Springs.
Grove Street in Roaring Spring. Earlier in the show, I asked Ron a question about if he could change anything, what would it be? And he gave a very insightful answer, and so I'm going to share that same question with Sherri. If you could change anything today, what would it be?
I think the communication between the schools and the after-school programs, I feel that we need to have an open communication so everyone can get involved for the better of the child.
Okay, thank you. And Lauren, how about you?
I think I would work to try and change attitudes towards adolescents. Generally, they're sort of often seen in a negative way, and when I teach my classes, that's sort of my motivation is to help people understand where they're coming from and what they're dealing with, to not necessarily like always their behavior, but to at least understand it and be more sympathetic to what they're trying to deal with and where they're trying to go with that.
Ron, we talked specifically about the Wright School area and the needs of that community. What's your overall assessment of our community in terms of what it's doing to prohibit the expansion of the drug use and helping these young people avoid the problems?
Well, first of all, I love Altoona. I know I get very upset with people who want to bash the city and the government and everything that's going on here, and we hear a lot of negativity. So there's one thing, we truly believe in our community and the people, and the good people that live here in central Pennsylvania, and some of them have fallen on hard times, so we're trying to change that, but our town certainly has been extremely valuable in coming together. So I see all the churches, businesses, Operation Our Town, civic groups, civic leaders, all coming together, and if we all work together, we can make a tremendous improvement in the community, and especially in areas like the lower Fairview area where we're located, that when we went in there several years ago, that area was pretty sad looking. There was a lot of dilapidated housing, the sidewalks were pretty bad, there were overgrown lots with weeds everywhere, the children played in the streets. But by coming together with our town and many of our business leaders and different churches, we've been able to make, I think, tremendous improvements, not just in the brick and mortar of the area, but also in the lives of the people that live there.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Ron. You have. Congratulations. Lauren, how about you?
Can you repeat the question?
The question was, what would you change if you could change something? And what's your overall opinion of our community? How are we doing with what's our score fighting these drug problems?
Well, I think Ron's exactly right. trying to find ways to break down the barriers between groups who are trying to work with families and children and the schools and open up the communication, like Sherri said. That seems to be, if we're all in this together, we're all better off if we're all better off. That my life is...
Oh, wait, stop. What was that statement again? Say that again, because that's profound.
But I operate on the premise that my life is better if everybody around me has a good life, and I want to contribute to what's working for them, because that's just, my children are going to play with their children, and it's no fun if some kids are struggling and they can't get what they need, or they don't have opportunities, and only my children are the one benefiting from what's around them. So that if we can all make it better for everybody, we're all going to be better off. I mean, and that's what the drug culture represents, is people not having opportunities, and the ones who do typically aren't involved. So the ones without opportunities, the ones without things to do and guidance and support, are the ones who are finding alternative strategies, which is the drug culture.
Thank you, Lauren. Sharon, how about you? I know you're a relative newcomer to the area, but how do you think we're doing in our efforts?
I think it's good. I come from an area that has always been they communicate with each other. So when I came here, I saw there wasn't as much communication. Now, I've been here 3 years, and the communication is starting to get better. And I think everybody does like to work for the good of the child. I think as adults, we owe it to our children to help them.
Thank you. Ron, you said something earlier that piqued my curiosity. I'm going to confess ignorance. I didn't realize we had enough Spanish-speaking individuals in our community to have a church that is Spanish-speaking in its basis.
Right. Well, we didn't either, that's a growing segment of our population. I don't know if anybody has the exact numbers of that, but they had been meeting, I believe, out in the Duncansville area for a while, but that was not a real convenient location for where most of the people were living that were attending there, and they actually approached us when we threw the building open to say, hey, we have this facility, we want to see it used. They came to us, and it seemed like a good fit, so we offered. I believe they run in the 30 to 50 people. That's what I'm understanding. They're meeting Sunday afternoons.
That's wonderful. So what I've heard here today is that the Cove area, which I always thought was where Ozzie and Harriet Nelson lived, also has potential problems. We have the Wright School area. We have a Spanish-speaking segment of our community. We have a university here that's participating. I'm going to ask you, Lauren, do you see any area that's immune from this?
I hate to say no, but I mean, everybody's touched in some way. So, even as an older adult, if I'm not directly touched, when my community is not strong and holding together, when that woven capacity, when you talk about an umbrella, and then also what's the net that's underneath them is too widely woven, I'm touched in some way through crime, directly or indirectly, or the other problems that people struggle with. So I don't think anybody's untouched in some capacity.
The young people, do they ever come and say to you, Sherri, hey, somebody in my family has a drug problem, or do you ever hear stories like that?
Oh, I just heard, not the family member, but one of the middle school kids said, you need to check something out because there's a whole bunch of guys sitting down at the end of the corner, and I think they're dealing drugs. So by the time I got out there, they were gone. But it's everywhere. It really is everywhere.
Oh my, that's it. And Ron, you deal with these young people, very young people. Do you see that same thing? Somebody saying, "Hey, my neighbor's doing this," or do they feel powerless?
I don't know how powerless the kids feel, if they even think that far ahead. As a child, you only know what you're being dealt with on a day-to-day, moment-by-moment basis. I'm sure there's a hopelessness there. It's one of the signs of anybody in poverty that you feel like, I'm stuck here, what's the use, why bother? So a lot of times they just, generation after generation, just stays in that poverty level because they don't really believe there's a way out. But the kids know probably more what's going on in the neighborhood than we do, because they do see it. And but many of them are taught not to say anything because it's a big secret. If they tell, it might be somebody in their family, and the police might come and take somebody they love away, and they've seen that happen, and so they're afraid of that happening. And so even though it might be beneficial for them to tell us, a lot of times they won't.
The girl that had spoken to me about this pulled me into like a little corner area, and she's like, whatever you do, don't tell them I told you, because they don't want to be known as a narc or whatever.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful program we've had today. Our guest, Lauren McConnell from Penn State and the Altoona Public Library, Ron Ross from the Nehemiah Project, and Sherri Lynch from the Garver Memorial YMCA. And I'll tell you what, I've learned so much. I hope you have too, and I hope this entices you to get involved in these projects. There are children. It's our community. We need to take back the neighborhoods. And as Lauren said, what's good for them is good for us. Thank you very much.